Today I'm a speaker, which makes me a little less excited and a little more nervous, but I really believe each of us can be stretched, and I expect I will be stretched today. As you come into this meeting today, think about what do you want to get from it? Whether you have a role, you're participating as an audience, or there's something you need from this meeting. What if you got exactly what you needed? That is my goal in Masters of Evaluation, that we meet people where they are. We are unconditionally constructive, but we hold each of us to such a high standard that we leave better for this meeting.
Now, straight to our first speaker, our main speaker, our only speaker, and it is an appropriately important speech. Today, our speaker will share her opinion on how the world has changed because of COVID, learning to talk civilly about this issue with those who disagree could challenge a diplomat. Today, she will attempt to be diplomatic and hold a conversation with those who might disagree with her. Please join me in welcoming our esteemed president and founder, Victoria Trabosh. Vicky, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests. What has happened to our society? When did we lose our civility? Or was it always fragile? Today, I'm going to talk about a pandemic that surfaced in 2020 and changed the world forever. For your questions and comments, I would ask that you would hold them until the end of my speech, where we'll have plenty of time to discuss your views and what they mean for you. What's happened during COVID is that it's separated families, it's caused grief, it's left us wondering if this is real or a conspiracy to control us. Depending on your experience, you have felt a myriad of emotions. In my case, the last time I traveled was in January of 2020, when I went to New York City to see my granddaughter who had an intern program. We walked the streets of New York, we had dinner together, we laughed, and we made memories. Little did I know that it was the last time I would see my family together. I have 3 sons, a daughter, 8 grandchildren, and a great-grandson that was just born last week. I have yet to see them. I took for granted all those loud, funny gatherings of families and friends. No more. The overwhelming message in the United States, and what I have read about from around the world, is overwhelmingly negative. Media coverage has been intense, and here are some statistics that I pulled up. The scientific journal, Humanities and Social Sciences Communications, reported in an analysis that approximately 141,000 English news headlines related to the coronavirus from January 2020 to June 2020 uncovered that 52% of the headlines evoked negative emotions and only 30% evoked positive emotions. But what can you say positive during a pandemic? The wide variety of headlines and news articles are racked with fear and blame. Misinformation has also led to a racist discrimination and displays of xenophobia towards Chinese individuals through the referral of the disease as the Chinese pandemonium, the Wuhan virus, or the China virus.
I gotta say, I just don't understand anyone that would think that this is a conspiracy. The facts are there. It's changed our life. Have we no responsibility to one another as a member of society? Get off your, I'm an American, I could do whatever that blank I want. I mean, I'm just sick and tired of this.
You know, John, I really hear that. And we are, especially in this country, so faced with diverse ideas that we wonder, how can anyone disagree with what we believe? And what I know, as someone who would probably agree more with you than a detractor of this, is that they feel as passionately as you just described yourself. This new virus that we're facing, the new variant, Omicron, has been found in 23 countries as of December 1st, and 5 states in the United States as of today. Its virulence or severity is unknown to this point, but it's another pause in reopening the world. And who is not tired of these restrictions? The deaths that are being reported worldwide feel more like a scorecard than honoring those who have died. And how many more family gatherings, celebrations, Toastmasters meetings, businesses, and personal gatherings will be affected? I don't know. And how I think about what we can do about it, I start with the me rather than the we. I'd like to give you 3 ideas on how we can look at this with more kindness and gentleness, John, and understand what other people are thinking. But first, understand ourselves. Those are through the power of focus and faith, the power of partnership, and the power of no. Now, focus and faith is really important to me. Focus is an acronym. Follow one course until successful. Well, if you followed the course that you started in January of 2020 to today, you would be off course. So I say follow one course with corrections.
Thinks that she knows everything.
You follow one course with corrections until successful. Focus, people. We have to follow the news. We also have to follow the facts. And when we do that, we can have faith. Now, I'm not speaking about a faith in a higher power. Everyone is different. But do you have faith in yourself? How you can protect yourself? How you protect those around you? And I really believe that whether you are vaccinated or not, whether you believe this is a hoax or not, we can still have faith in ourselves and present that to the world more kindly.
The speaker knows in this country, we have individual rights. If I don't want to be vaccinated, that's too bad. I don't have to be. You can't force that on me.
Exactly.
And you cannot insinuate I cannot keep my job if I don't get one. So I don't understand your line of reasoning there.
I accept that, Harold. It's not that you can't get a job. It's that if a company who is the employer decides you must have a certain level of vaccination, that is between you. That's the contract you have made with your employer. And absolutely, you have the right not to get a vaccination. I expect that we are stronger because of our differences, not because we are the same. So how can we honor those differences? And I believe that is through the power of partnership. Our partnerships mean that I respect you for what you believe about this, Harold, and I do not judge you for it, because in a partnership, the less judgment we have, the more we can agree. And then if we have partnership, we can have the power of no. No to saying someone is wrong because they disagree. Yes, we can disagree. And yes, we can say, I don't think that's the way I would do it, but we don't have to do it with such anger at other people that we shut down. We must seek to understand rather than be understood. I listen to that argument, Harold, and I say, makes sense. Absolutely. No one should tell you you can't work unless it's the employer who has the contract that hires you. If you're an employer, absolutely, you set the rules and you say who gets to work. And in this country, vaccines are not mandated. Are they strongly suggested? Absolutely. But you have to decide what's right for you. Our humanity.
May I speak something? I have been listening to you, and I beg your pardon because English is not my first language. So I'm sure that you will give me the proper time for me to articulate my idea.
Yes, please.
You said something that caught my attention. You said that there is an agreement between the person and the employee, and they have the right to make you vaccinate, to get the vaccine, otherwise you can't go to work. I'm sorry, but in 1865, slavery was ratified, abolished. And I must say that this looks like the new masters are disguised. And of course, you can say that it is a contract, it is a business contract, and the company has the right to protect the people who is vaccinated. Well, I say something, let me say something. Do you allow me? If this vaccine work and is to protect people, so why the people who are not protected by the vaccine is a danger to someone who is supposed to be protected by the vaccine.
Jan, let me ask you.
I'm
may I
sorry, but
ask
you
you,
say, I'm
Jan?
sorry. Let me finish my point, Vicky. I'm
Okay.
sorry, but you say that you understand with respect the point of both parties. But when Mr. John spoke about the vaccine, he was, it looked like you both were talking with a little bit of sarcasm when someone disagree with the vaccination. And you know that I disagree with this. I am not getting vaccinated. I got vaccinated in the past. I'm not getting vaccinated now. And it looks like you speak like with a little bit of sarcasm when you say that you agree with other people's opinions. And
Jan,
let me just quote two people that support my argument. Vaccination is a barbarous practice and one of the most fatal of all the delusions of current time. That was said by Gandhi. Another a person who spoke against this, more people are now killed by vaccination than by smallpox. And this was quoted by George Bernard Shaw.
When did he say that?
A medical doctor said,
Jan, I don't want to mute you.
Ever told?
Jan, I just muted you. I just muted you, Jan. Not on purpose. I will unmute you, but I will ask you to wait and let me respond. You'll have to unmute yourself. My apologies. Here's why I muted you. You make so many points. And when you go on, it's hard for me to, I don't want to argue with you, but I do want to respond to you. The first thing I would say, and I would like to hear from everyone in the group as well, is that if you thought my comments had sarcasm, my apologies. I am not sarcastic about this. I am not sarcastic.
Yeah, because it looks like you spoke with the sarcasm against conspiracy theorists.
Jan,
it is a disagreement.
Jan, we can disagree, but I am telling you, when you say, I will not get a vaccine, I will not argue with you. But when I tell you I am not being sarcastic and you argue that I am, I don't know that you're listening. I did not mute you this time. So I just want to say, one, I was not sarcastic. Two, understanding what slavery means to you and what it means to me is one of the differences that if you and I could talk about this at length, and I cannot wait till someday we can share a beer, an alcoholic drink, a coffee, a tea, whatever makes us happy, to talk about these differences. Because as you know, as much respect as I have for you, I want to understand better where you're coming from. When I say I respect, I am muted, I don't know what that means. You're muted. I did not mute you.
I locked the meeting until further direction.
Okay, that was not expected. And Brad, do not do that again, please. Let him unmute himself. But Jan, I would ask that you would be as respectful listening to me as I was to you. You can unmute now, I think, Matt. Jan, try to unmute. Jan, can you unmute?
It looks like it's not a fair fight, because you know I am listening to you for 10 minutes, and I got I feel like I am being muted, literally, and in life, because you say about something about the slavery, it has a different meaning, but it looks like if the master, if the slave doesn't do what the master says, he will get muted. This
so
is what's happening.
Jan, I will respect that a point of view that muting you may have felt like I went too far, but I couldn't get a word in. And when we're having a discussion, I'm giving a speech, of course, so I do have a more dominant position in this, but I don't mute people when I'm trying to discuss things with them. You and I have talked about this in the past, which is a benefit to me. because it really reminds me of when I have so much respect and like for someone and they view things so differently than I. It doesn't make me think, oh, what was I ever thinking about liking this person? It makes me think, here's a man that's intelligent, educated, cares about the world, and probably could not look at something more differently than I. And yet,
It's my body, my
But-
choice.
I know, yes,
The
Yeah, I know
speaker is
know that.
absolutely wrong. It's shocking and alarming to hear him speak like that. He has an epic analysis of what slavery had. That's totally different. More than 700,000 people have died as a result of this so-called pandemic. There is something to be said about what Vicky Trabosh is saying. This
Harold, may I request something from you? I did not mute you. I don't know who muted you.
I muted myself.
All right, Harold, listen to
I
me.
can barely hold myself back.
I
from
know,
saying
and
more.
Harold,
Okay.
listen, please. Here's something that I would appreciate you doing right now. I would ask that rather than saying to Jan, I can't believe it, who are you to say that? If Jan, if you could say something to Jan about this pandemic, and this is going to be the last comments because I want to wrap this up and make sure I end on time. If you could say something, and Jan, I'm going to ask you just to listen and take it in. If you could say something to Jan about not with adjectives describing your emotions, but say something about why you feel differently in a way that he can hear it. I would appreciate it. Go ahead. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds and then I'd like to wrap up.
First of all, I know Jan is an intelligent, insightful man. Put yourself in the position of your countrymen who suddenly are faced with a pandemic that's killed almost 1 million people in the entire nation. And you have a vaccine that can help cure them or save them. What would you do to tell your public officers, your police officers, judges, everything like that? Do you have to take it? But if you don't, you'll die. That's what it looks like. Consider that, that's all.
Thank you, Harold. I'd like to wrap up with this. Our humanity is defined in the smallest of moments. The power of focus and faith, the power of partnership, and the power of no can help us all. I'd like to end with a quote by Ed Yong. He said, he's a science writer at The Atlantic, and he said, "We long to return to normal, but normal led to this. To avert the future pandemics we know are coming, we must grapple with all ways normal has failed us. We have to build something better." Fellow Toastmasters, let's build something better together.
Thank you, Vicky. Well, that was certainly a speech that lived up to managing a difficult audience. And it's having done that, I have to say that I didn't quite see that level of difficulty. So you certainly, I think, I'll leave it to Zan to complete the evaluation. But well, that was sparky from an audience point of view. Thank you very much, Harold and Jan and Vicky.
Take it away, Zan.
All right, thank you. Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, honored guest, and most importantly, Vicky Trabosh. Oh my goodness, what an honor to be able to evaluate Vicky's speech. I'm probably more nervous than any other speech I've ever given doing this, so I just want to acknowledge that. I reached out to her ahead of time to see what she would like me to focus on, and it was considering how she was controlling the conversation, if she was being heavy-handed or not too heavy-handed. And I just want to say congratulations on using a whole host of tools from your toolbox to be able to control this conversation, because you didn't use just one note to quell what was happening and move on with your thoughts. So you started off with a great compelling question, which gathered everyone's attention. When did we lose our civility, or did we ever have it? Everybody was leaned in and like, oh, that's very deep, very quick. And then you followed it up with a personal story about New York and your family, which further get us embedded into your speech. I noticed the people shifting around a little bit when it got to the third little segment of news and percentages and things like that. And people shifted a little bit and maybe started to slide around in their chairs. Not that this is a speech where you need to use slides per se or whatever, but you know, at a time like that, you know, maybe just change up the visual with a slide or something different, because people were starting to shift and pictures get us back in the game. Now to move on to the interrupters and how you dealt with them. My most favorite and epic one was the first one, Jan, when he, I don't even know what he said, his very first one, but your passion in response to him was, that's what I want you to go back and look at when this is videotaped and recorded. Go back and look at your response to him, because that was my favorite one of the entire speech. You followed it up with you got in your body, and that's what I missed in some of the other parts. You were really in your body, even though you stayed in your seats, and you embodied your passion, shut them down the way you needed to with credibility, following up by where the variant is now. And we were like, ooh, back to the powerful speaker, okay. Mayuri, you did the right thing by just sort of rolling over that. She accidentally maybe muted herself. I love that you said so many times that you accept what people are saying. Harold, I accept that those are your thoughts. It's the very, like the yes and thing. So important for people to feel seen. The more people are seen, the more that they will shut up and shut down, usually, unless you're Jan, who really wanted to take the stage and be the speaker, which was awesome. He really gave you a huge challenge. What I challenge you to look at it, that one is when you said, I muted you, not on purpose, but I muted you, but it was on purpose, I feel. So look at that. And when I have I'll just say a mistake like that, I fall into it. So I muted you, not on purpose, but it was totally on purpose. And this is why, and blah, blah, just something to lean into the mistake. I see that it's yellow, so I need to keep moving on. I loved it. You did a fantastic job. I would say two things to keep getting better is embody the speech, embody your thoughts, embody your passions. If you're not going to stand up to differentiate yourself, because sometimes you might be practicing to be a speaking head on TV sort of thing, and you have to sit down, do whatever you can. Breathing exercise is something to get in your body, because that was the most, yes, you could wave back and forth. That would work too. Oh, it's turning red. Embody it. Point out what's happening in the moment, even if it's a mistake. I have to wrap this up. I would like to see you do those things, because I would like to see you as a regular person on television, adding civility and compassion into an area where it is greatly needed in our society. Thank you so much. And I just want to say, to conclude this, in honor of your mom, dear Rita, whose 90th birthday would be today, I want to say that she and I are very proud of you. Great job. Back to you, General Evaluator.
I am a professional speaker. I gave a speech today and got feedback that was so helpful that when you're a good speaker and you give a speech and someone like Zan comes along and says, your audience got restless. How helpful was that? Now, as excellent speakers, if you're not here to also deliver a great speech, you can't get that kind of feedback. So I just want to underline what Sharon just said. Yes, you'll evaluate. We're evaluating all the time, but where are the speakers? I picked this topic as a terribly hard topic. I was nervous because I know this is a rough topic, but boy, did it stretch me as a speaker, and to see Zan give such nuanced feedback will now change who I am as a speaker. So this is not a spectator sport, my friends. We need two speakers. Let's start.